All right, good afternoon. We're convening the Committee on Transportation here in the Senate in conference room 224 on our 3 p.m. agenda. We are also accepting testimony online. I'll just note for a little bit of housekeeping this afternoon, we do have about almost 18 different governor's messages. This is actually a lot for an agenda. We recognize time is short though, so we're trying to get as much done as possible. So we appreciate everybody's patience waiting for this afternoon, and thank you all for showing up either in person or joining us online. I will note that testimony on all the GMs is all in support. So to the extent that folks do want to offer their comments, we just ask that if there's something new that someone else hasn't said, focus on that. Just so we're not repeating ourselves. We'd like to get through the entire agenda. And then also, I just add the order of operations for each governor's message. We'll run through the testifiers who have submitted their testimony. We'll offer the nominee then an opportunity to say a few words on their own behalf, and then follow up with question and answer for anyone. So if that sounds okay for everybody, why don't we go ahead and get started this afternoon. And up first on today's agenda is GM 779, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Medical Advisory Board, gubernatorial nominee Susie Nevers, excuse me, Susie Nevers for a term to expire 6/30/2026. And we have testimony in support from the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. The department stands under testimony support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's all the testimony we have on GM 779, I believe. So I believe we have opportunity for our nominee to say a few words.
Hello, Chair. This is Ed again. Apologize. I believe she had back-to-back appointments today and couldn't make it.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I can't see from here who's joining us on Zoom. But thank you. Okay, so with that, any questions? For DTOT, almost said DTS, my apologies. DOT, okay, if not, let's move on to the next GM 837, submitting for confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee William Peck for a term to expire 6/30/2024. And testifying again is Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and members. DOT is in strong support. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And again, that is all the testimony we have on GM 837. Oh, there he is. Good afternoon, Mr. Peck. And I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but thank you. Congratulations on your nomination. I invite you to share with the committee a few words about what your intent is here.
I'll be very short. You know, I'm currently retired, and I want to contribute, give back to the state somehow. I think that I have the experiences necessary to help. I've been in the construction business all of my life, and I've ran basically 3 companies here in Hawaii. So I think I have a wealth of knowledge to contribute to the group for decisions that we need to make about highway safety.
Thank you very much. All right, are there any questions for the nominee or the testifiers?
Yes, I have a question.
Vice
for
Chair.
Ed. Ed,
Yes, Vice Chair.
it's for 2 years. So is he continuing or just a vacancy for remaining of someone else's term?
He's filling a vacancy right now.
Oh, okay.
Thank
I
you.
see. And that was the remaining years.
That's correct. That's correct.
So later on, if he intends to, and if the recommendation, he can have another term after that.
Absolutely. We hope he wants to stay on because his construction experience is going to be tremendous in allowing us to work through work zone safety, especially for all users of the highways.
Okay.
As the chair and I had seen in the past, we've not controlled our work zones for bicyclists and pedestrians very well. So we're hoping that, and we know that Mr. Pike's feed into this process is going to help us tremendously.
Okay, thank you. I totally agree. All right, thank you, Chair.
Any further questions? All right, if not, thank you both. Let's move on to the next agenda item, Governor's Message 838, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee David Ma for a term to expire 6/30/2025. Testifying first on 838 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in strong support. Thank you.
We also have testimony from the City and County of Honolulu Department of Transportation Services in support, and Mr. Rolfe, Hawai'i Auto Dealers.
Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. HADA stands in strong support of Professor Ma for appointment and confirmation to the Highway Safety Council. On a personal note, I've served with him on the Hawaii Autonomous Vehicle Institute, and he brings an awful lot of communication skills to the table. Thanks for letting us testify.
Thanks very much. All right, that's all the testimony we have on 838. Mr. Ma, would you like to join us and come on up? Floor is yours.
Well, first of all, Chair Senator Lee and Vice Chair Senator Inouye and committee members, and thank you so much for considering me as a member for this important council. As you know, I'm Interim Associate Dean for the College of Engineering at University of Hawaii. My research has been centered around, research and teaching has been centered around the transportation system for years. And over the years, I've been working on lots of different projects, ranging from bridge monitoring, transportation systems, to renewable energy technologies. I think this is a great opportunity, and I know in Hawaii, the transportation cost has been pretty high. It's higher than the national average. But I don't think this high cost actually necessarily translates into a high level of safety, which I think we have a lot of work to do. I'm a strong believer in technology. I'm even a stronger believer in using technology to close the equity gap in transportation. So I'm very excited to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, any questions? Committee? If not, thank you again for taking the opportunity to reach out earlier and have a conversation with many of us, I believe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next measure, if there are no questions, which is GM 839, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Jessica Thompson for a term to expire 6/30/2023. And testifying first on 839 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Inouye, members of the committee. Micah Munikata on behalf of the Ulupono Initiative. We'd like to stand in our testimony in strong support of Ms. Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from Aloha Care, Bike Share Hawaii, Hawaii Public Health Institute.
Hi-Fi will stand for our testimony.
Thank you. We also have testimony from 7 individuals. Is there anyone in the room or online who wishes to testify on this GM who we have not yet called? All right, if not, thank you. I believe we have our nominee on Zoom joining us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, committee leaders and members. My name is Jessica Thompson. My gender pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm just thrilled to be here with you today. I'm zooming in from Hawaii Island, where I'm the Executive Director of PATH, People for Active Transportation Hawaii. I've been an active multimodal transportation user for my entire life since I started walking to school. And I now take the Helion, and when I go to meetings and run errands. I'm at a point in my life where I want to give back, and I also want to learn and grow. And so I'm really honored to be nominated to this council. It's a true honor to be with you here today, and to be nominated to the SHSP. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions?
I have a comment. I just want to say thank you, Jessica. Jessica is my constituent.
Oh.
And so we're happy and.
Sounds like a
that-
yes vote.
Yes. And happy that Zoom is working. As we all know, traveling here to Oahu, it doesn't meet all of our schedules at times. And so we appreciate and know that that connections with IT and the Zoom is just perfect. And thank you again for offering, and thank you for all you do with PATH. Very familiar with that. Thank you again. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, if not, let's move along then to GM 840, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Kevin Gog for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from the City and County of Honolulu, Department of Transportation Services, and AARP Hawaii, Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you, Chair. Ulupono will stand on its testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Also, we have support testimony from Bike Share Hawaii, Blue Planet Foundation, and 1, 2, 3 individuals. And is there anyone else in the room with us wishing to testify on this GM? All right, if not, I believe our nominee is online as well. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Humbled and appreciated for the invitation, and I'm excited for the opportunity to serve the state and the community. So look forward to collaborating and working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, any questions? All right. Thank you. If not, let's move on to the next item, GM 841, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Michael Packard for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And testifying first on 841 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from the Department of Health, County of Maui, County of Kauai Managing Director, Department of Planning and Permitting, City and County of Honolulu, AARP Hawaii. Thank you. Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you, Chair. Ulupono will stand on its testimony in strong support.
Thank you. SSFM International. And this is all in support. Hawaii Bicycling League, Bike Share Hawaii, Hawaii Public Health Institute. Thank you. City Council Member, I apologize, is out of order. City Council Member Brandon Elefante in support, and an additional roughly 20 individuals. Was there anyone here in the audience or online wishing to testify on GM 841 who we have not yet called? All right, if not, Mr. Packard. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Chair. Aloha, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Noe, members of the committee. I stand before you, sit before you today, respectfully request that I be considered for appointment to the State of Hawaii State Highway Safety Council. As a professional traffic engineer with over 2 decades of experience, I spent the majority of my career pursuing solutions to improve safety and accessibility for the most vulnerable users. My efforts here in Hawaii over the past 13 plus years have included work on all Hawaiian islands with each county and various state transportation agencies. Through these efforts, I've worked on policy, planning, design, and construction oversight of our roads and paths. Notable projects I've worked on include the H1 corridor study, Waimea roadway improvement project, of which I worked with Vice Chair, Kalanaino Ole highway widening and pedestrian safety study, of which I worked with Chair, Farrington Highway Corridor Study. Did not work with you, sir, but I am well aware of your input there. County of Hawaii Vision Zero Action Plan and the ongoing red light safety camera engineering report. I'd love to see this committee work further to further the safety of all roadway users by considering the needs and abilities of the surrounding area residents and visitors. I've always been a strong proponent of community service, and I'm excited to be considered for this appointment. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Packard?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the other guys and just keep it to mind because he brought up various counties that he worked with. The reason why I bring this up is that we're having a situation that engineers are saying one thing in our community and then the community is saying another. Papipi Road was a long time overdue for the road in the area. I don't know if you're familiar. Mr. Sniffin over there knows. But it's a long overdue that was supposed to have the improvements, yeah. So as a not just pertaining to my area, but as being on this board and having the input of the community, does that help you in some of the things that you do and the decisions you make going forward and being part of the transportation board?
Thank you so much for the question. And it's really applicable because I've actually done a study of Papipi Road. I did one for the Department of Transportation Services back in 2016. And through those efforts, we had in-depth conversations with the surrounding community, the adjacent schools, and the businesses in the area. I believe that's at the forefront of the work that engineers should be doing, is working with the community and listening to their absolute needs, as opposed to looking at these roads as throughput, ways for people to get through neighborhoods, but really respecting the needs of the actual users and all the needs that individual roads need to serve the various members of our community.
I'll be calling you later on. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Further
Thank
questions?
you.
All right, if not, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, let's move on to, and I want to thank everybody. We're making quite good progress through the agenda here. So GM 842, submitted for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Gareth Sakakita for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And for GM 842, we have testimony from the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in support, strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have supported testimony from Roger Morton. Listed here as an individual and another individual. That said, is there anyone else here with us wishing to testify on GM 842 who we have not yet called? If not, all right, let's move on to nominee. May not. Tech support, do we have anyone else online?
No, I do not believe so.
I'm here, but I can't start the video for some reason.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
I got his video on.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. We can see you now.
Oh, thank you, Chair Lee and Vice Chair Inoue, committee members. I'm Gareth Sakakita with the Hawaii Transportation Association. I apologize for the paucity of testimony. I didn't tell anyone about this, so I'm kind of surprised a couple came in. I started a transportation career, I guess, with a focus on safety. Back, I don't know when anymore. I've never left it. So I hope to bring a perspective to the council that they may or may not have had the opportunity to have in the past on the commercial side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the members?
No, I just have a comment. I've worked with Garrett since I came on here in 1999 session. And so he's been a great supporter in the industry that he works with, but also his efforts to put into all of the other areas of his lifetime. And we certainly appreciate, as busy as you are, Gareth, you have a wealth of information that will be great for the council. And thank you very much for doing that as well, and to the many names we have today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? If not, all right, thank you, Mr. Sakakita. Let's move on now to GM 843, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Jalen Murakami for a term to expire 6/30/2023. And testifying first on 843 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. Department stands in support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony support from the Department of Health, Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you, Chair. Ulupono will stand on his testimony in strong support.
Thank you. We also have testimony from Aloha Care support, Hawai'i Public Health Institute.
Thank you, Chair. I will stand in this written testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Blue Zones Project in support, and 3 individuals. Okay. So with that, why don't we move on? Oh, I'm sorry. Did we miss anybody else who's joining us on Zoom or in the audience wishing to testify on GM 843? All right. If not, let's move on to our nominee.
Or is
I
she
believe
on
so.
Zoom?
Yes.
Oh,
right here.
okay. Oh,
Good afternoon.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Sorry, I put Zoom, but I decided to come down in person. My name is Jalen Murakami. I'm currently the Advocacy and Outreach Coordinator at Hawai'i Public Health Institute. Very honored at the opportunity to serve on the Statewide Highway Safety Council. I've helped to convene the obesity prevention task force for the last 6 years, and we work on several initiatives related to highway safety. Very interested in making our roadways safe for all users of all ages and abilities, regardless of their mode of transportation. And so, yeah, thank you for your consideration of my nomination.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions for our nominee?
Oh,
All right. If not, thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay. I'll note for the next few nominations, we have 2 governor's messages for each nominee, one finishing out a short term and then one for a full term following it. So what we'll do is we'll take both governor's messages as one. So up next is GMs 844 and GM 845, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Jackie Bolin, for terms to expire both 6/30/2022 and then onward, including 6/30/2026. So testifying first on 844 and 845 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony from the Department of Health in support, Department of Planning and Permitting in support, AARP, Hawaii. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, members of the committee. I'm Audrey Suga Nakagawa. I'm the Advocacy Director for AARP Hawaii, and AARP is very proud and honored to testify in strong support of the confirmation for Jackie Bolin. Ms. Bolin is a tireless advocate, champion, and proponent of multimodal transit use options. She's worked very hard in promoting the safety interests of our older drivers, bicyclists, and pedestrian, and we believe she'll be a very strong advocate and assets to the Highway Council, and we're very proud of her to be representing the interests of our older population. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, up next we have Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you again, Chair. Ulupono will stand on its testimony in strong support.
Thank you. We have testimony from Aloha Care in support, Hawai'i Public Health Institute. Thank you. Age Friendly Honolulu in support, and additional testimony from about 8 individuals, all in support. And then for 845, it looks like all the same testimony from duplicate testimony from 844 with 1 individual who didn't testify on 844. All right, so for both governor's messages 844 and 845, is there anyone in the audience or online wishing to testify who we did not call? All right, if not, why don't we move on to our nominee? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome back.
Thank you. AARP is a membership organization for people 50 and older. We have 144,000 members here in the state of Hawaii. And we are able, because of that, we're able to really get a sense of what's going on across the state. Unfortunately, Hawaii, as you may know, is chronically #1 in the country per capita for the most dangerous state in the country to be over the age of 60. And as a pedestrian, mostly that's due to Honolulu traffic accidents, not, statewide. But this first came to my attention back in 2006. And at the time, it just seemed like an epidemic. Older adults were getting hit in crosswalks, usually at dusk and dawn. We started off doing walk audits just to figure out what the problem was, and quickly realized that the solution really lay in being able to impact the built environment, how our roads are designed. From there, we passed a statewide complete streets law, which I know some of you were instrumental in voting for, so thank you. And we also passed a county level 1 for Honolulu and each of the neighbor islands. There's still a lot of work to be done. And I hope that in this role, I can bring that aging lens to bear on the situation. AARP does a lot of research. We have a lot of models. I'm hoping that just by hearing what's going on and having access to that information, I'll be able to play a role in helping to make Hawaii's roads safer for everyone, including Kupuna. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any questions for our nominee? If not, I have just one. And perhaps you're the victim of us now moving along at a sufficient rate that I think we can actually get done in time so I can actually ask questions.
Sure.
But something interesting which strikes me from the previous nominee's testimony about building infrastructure for all ages, and of course you echoing sort of the same thing. I think when a lot of people think about infrastructure, when you look at it, it's designed for those of us who are driving around or biking or walking independently. And so when you get to folks who are requiring assistance because they have disabilities or they're elderly or they're not going to cross a highway by themselves, and on the other end of the spectrum, kids who are from toddler on up to through elementary school typically aren't going to be doing a lot of transit on their own. Are there other places you look at or strategies that you want to dive into to address those ends of the spectrum that you're referring to?
Well, I believe within the transportation advocate community, it's widely said that if you can make a community that's safe for Kupuna, you can make a community that's safe for Keiki as well. So basically we're looking at a transportation design that would keep everyone of all ages safe, from a small child to a mother with a stroller to a senior citizen who has a disability. And, unfortunately, we still have to move. Well, not unfortunately, we still have to move cars. People still want to get around safely. But I think what we need to look at is how can we keep everybody safe and keep everybody moving. Multimodal transportation options are critical to our ability to age successfully. And all of us have parents, all of us have grandparents, and we can't be their transportation for them because we all work, right? And so I think by offering up opportunities for people to travel safely independently or interdependently with others within the community, we can keep people independent for as long as possible. And that's what we really want to do in our community. Everybody wants to stay safe and independent for as long as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else?
I have a
Vice Chair.
comment to make, and this is in reference to pedestrian safety. And I think it was maybe not during the time that you were appointed then, but if I remember, there was always a very touchy street coming down from Pali, going down to where Oahu Country Club, what's that highway number coming down?
Oh, Polly.
Pali, yes. And I remember the incidences we've had because that road is so wide. And the community came out and lobbying, make our streets safe. And I think there was it wasn't a tragic accident, but I think a kupuna did get into an accident. So therefore, and I think Ed, the state highways did come up with a mechanism, to address how we're going to keep our pedestrians safe, but by doing all sorts of changes. And so I'm wondering if we're still using that same model wherever, here on Oahu, and in particular, I think there's a lot of accidents on North King Street. And so I am just kind of wondering if how we're changing to save lives are used constantly, or it depends on the kinds of the area that you use a different model of safety on the streets. And I think, Ed, you folks came up with the model, you're putting up the stanchions, I believe, and sometimes the signs. So, but yet we can still continue to have pedestrian accidents.
So there's a thing called context sensitive design. So you can't throw the same solution at every problem because every neighborhood is designed differently. But recently, I drive the Poly almost every day. I noticed that they've put a lot of raised crosswalks, which does seem to be slowing cars down, but I don't have the data from that. But that's the reason you can't use the same solution in every location.
I can see that as well. Ed, you were gonna make comments.
Yeah, just to respond, we've been looking at the pedestrian, bicycle, motorcycle, and vehicle crashes and fatalities on the system. There's always different reasons for the crashes to occur, but the reason for the fatality is speed. So we're looking at managing speed throughout the system wherever we are. We're focusing first on areas where we have our most vulnerable users around schools first. And there's going to be 80 raised pedestrian crosswalks going around the state to make sure that we slow speeds in those corridors where we know there's going to be high conflicts between pedestrians, bicyclists, and vehicles. In those areas, we've already hit a bunch of areas on the Leeward Coast, on the Eva side, and in Waimanalo, and on the Big Island. And in every area we've put in those raised pedestrian crosswalks, there have been 0 crashes, 0 fatalities. So we know they work. We also know that if there are crashes, they're going to be much lower in severity than if they weren't there. So those are just tactics that we know we can install immediately while we look at the long-term solution that's necessary for that corridor. One of the things that was the issue in the past is the state, never looked at that situation to say, we must fix it today. That's gone now. So the reason that you see those tangents up, those gateway concepts, the reason that you see those raised pedestrian crosswalks is I can do that in a week to make sure if we see trends that are of concern in an area, we can hit it immediately. Then we can start looking at the long term to see how we can adjust this infrastructure to ensure that we have less crashes and less fatalities.
Yeah, and during the discussions we had on Pali incidences, is there a reason why we cut back on using those lights like we did on the Big Island at Hilo Medical Center with the pedestrian crosswalk, where once you're there, you trigger the light, but the lights are in the road. And so, but I understand that hasn't been used. Is there a reason why? Because I thought that was clearly working, for people and for the cars to stop. Because the lights are on once you have a pedestrian on the crosswalk. Is there a reason why we haven't continued to do that? Is it the cost?
Well, there's several reasons. The first is when you look at those pedestrian actuated signals, when you press those signals, you're still depending on the drivers to stop. The raised pedestrian crosswalks makes you slow every time you get to that area. The difficulty that we have with those pedestrian actuated signals as well is, and you can see it on King Street as well, In areas where we have those signals, we had it on Pali for a while. In the first 2 weeks, when those pedestrian actuated signals are actuated by pedestrians, you'll see drivers slow into the area. Well, once drivers go through that area enough times, and when the signals are blinking but nobody's there, that insensitivity to those signals starts up again. So instead of slowing as they approach the signals, they're just driving at regular speed to see if there's a pedestrian. What they normally would do if there weren't those lights in that area anyway. So from my perspective, we're looking for infrastructure that will slow you every time. Raised pedestrian crosswalks do it really well. Roundabouts do a really good job of it to make sure physically you're not able to speed through those zones.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So with that, any other questions for our nominee? Oh, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And so
Jackie.
while I said we're moving along nicely, let's I'll offer we can have an info briefing on the specific tactics and measures for what we're doing here. So for the moment, let's confine our questions to the nominee before us.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to GMs 846 and 847. Submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Edward Warner for a term to expire 6/30/2022 and another term to expire 6/30/2026. And testifying first on 846 and 847 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from the City and County of Honolulu, Department of Transportation Services, Iron Workers Stabilization Fund. State Representative Stacy Lynn Eli, and one individual. And I'm sorry, and also for the same nominee on the second GM, we have testimony from Build Team 50, as well as an additional, also Malama Makua is all in support, and an additional roughly 10 individuals. So that being said, were there any individuals in the audience with us here or on Zoom wishing to testify on either GMs 846 or 847? All right, if not, Mr. Warner, IT, do we have him online with us?
Not present, Chair.
Okay. So we're going to assume he's unable to make it this afternoon. All right. That being said, are there any questions for the testifiers on this GM, these two GMs? If not, all right, thank you. Let's move on to the next set of measures, GM 848 and 849, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominees gubernatorial nominee Constance Mitchell, for a term to expire 6/30/2022 and an additional term to expire 6/30/2026. And testifying first on 848 and 849 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. Department stands in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from the Governor's Coordinator on Homelessness, Matson Navigation Company, and 3 individuals. I believe that's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone in the audience or online wishing to testify on these measures? Okay, if not, I can move to our nominee. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Noy, committee members. I'm Connie Mitchell. I've been in the homeless services business for the last 16 years, and I just I'm honored to be nominated to serve on this board. I think I bring a kind of different perspective, from many of the other members, and I'm hoping that it would actually add to the conversations that we would have. I think I submitted my desire to serve and shared that with you. I won't belabor the point. If you have questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
We need the nurses onto the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure. GM 850, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council, gubernatorial nominee Beverly Brody for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And testifying first on 850 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have supportive testimony from DOT Highways, Kauai, Mr. Larry Dill. Department of Health, County of Kauai Managing Director, Ulupono Initiative.
Thank you, Chair. Ulupono will stand on its testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Aloha Care, in support, Hawaii Public Health Institute.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to stand in support.
Thank you. We have two individuals also in support on 850. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else online or in the audience with us wishing to testify on this GM? All right, if not, I see our nominee online. Good afternoon.
Chair Lee. Good afternoon, Chair Lee and Vice Chair Inoue. My name is Beverly Brody. I go by Bev, unless you're upset with me, and then Beverly would probably be what you would want to call me. Since 1994, I've worked on Kauai to create healthier and safer communities. We've championed efforts in Safe Roads to School, Complete Streets, and actually transformed several of our neighborhoods to be safer, as Jackie Boland said, for everyone, not just pedestrians, not just bicyclists, but motorists as well. When you make a street safer for pedestrians and cyclists, you're making it safer for vehicles, motor vehicles as well. And I'm just so honored and humbled for the opportunity to serve on this committee. And I thank you for allowing me to testify, and I'm available to answer any questions should you have any.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? All right, if not, thank you very much. Let's move on to GMs 851 and 852, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Highway Safety Council gubernatorial nominee William Hankins for a term to expire 6/30/2022 and an additional term to expire 6/30/2026. And testifying first on 851 is the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair. The department stands on its testimony in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is supportive testimony from Maui County Council Member Yukile Sugimura in support. We have additional testimony from 3 individuals, all in support. All right, is there anyone else in the audience wishing to testify on these measures or online? All right, if not, see Mr. Hankins online. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair.
We wanted to invite you to say a few words and share with us what you wanted to do on the Highway Safety Council.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today, and I appreciate the nomination. Basically, I'll give you a quick background for me. For the last 30+ years, I've been with the Maui Police Department. For the last 3 years, I was the commander of the traffic division. The better part of my 30-year career has been spent in traffic division. I've done everything from the DUI patrol to DUI expert to drug recognition. I believe that I provide a wealth of information and experience in 2 of the 3 E's. The engineering part, I've worked with some of the engineers, but enforcement and education, I bring a wealth of information to. And I've been known pretty much as the voice of impaired driving for Maui County. And a lot of colorful signs that the DOT has been put up. We worked with Mr. Sniffen and the crew over here on Maui, and we put up some pretty colorful reminders to get people to try and slow down. Things that I'd like to accomplish is I want to make it known that I want to be here for the victims' families. Losing someone to impaired driver is horrific. And other than that, we need to get people to slow down, because speed and alcohol are the 2 deadliest things that are killing people out there on Hawaii roads.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions? I did have just one follow-up since we do have some time here. Appreciate you zooming in. I know we had a conversation offline beforehand, but just focusing on the council itself is just mostly a technical question. In your current role, is there any conflict with what you'd be doing on the Highway Safety Council? In other words, can you operate independently there with the crew versus your duties that you've been involved with, I guess, over on this end on the policy front?
Yeah, sure. It shouldn't be a problem at all. I mean, as far as the police department goes, I'm retired. And when I say retired, I mean recently retired. I retired March 1st. It's been about 6 weeks, probably one of the best decisions I made. But other than that, the bottom line here is like we discussed, you know, the reason I want to do this is I'm not done trying to save lives.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. Any further questions for this nominee? If not, all right, thank you. So I'll note that is every GM on our agenda today, and that went a lot faster than I thought it was going to. So you guys got off the hook without having to go through all our questions that we had lined up. But that said, what we're going to do is recess for decision making. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Recess.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're reconvening the Committee on Transportation for decision-making on our 3 p.m. agenda here in Conference Room 224 on a number of governor's messages on our agenda today. So what I'd like to do is want to recommend we move forward with all the nominees having all testimony for every single nominee in support. With one exception, and that's just to delay the vote on GMs 846 and 847 until 3 p.m. Thursday is the only nominee we haven't had a chance to talk to directly. So when we make these recommendations to our colleagues, we want to be able to say that we've talked with each nominee and that we've had that opportunity. So we'll defer those two GMs, 846 and 847, to Thursday at 3 p.m. Here in this room, State Capitol Room 224. And that'll give us some time to reach out and have that conversation.
Did the IT come on?
Yeah,
We're off already. We're off recess, right?
Yeah, we're live. But for all the other GMs, so 779, 837, 838, 839, 840, 841, 842, 843, 844, 845, 848, 849, 850, 851, and 852. We'd like to take in one motion. If the committee's.
Why don't we just do 779, because that's the medical advisory in one vote, and then starting from 837 in the one vote.
That's fine.
Because
We can do
that's
that
two
too.
different
Sure.
groups, yeah.
Okay, for the moment,
seven-
let's move
yeah.
to GM 779 then. And as will be the recommendation for all of them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, recommendation is to advise and consent to GM 779. Is there any discussion on this? If not, Vice Chair.
Okay, Chair's recommendation to pass GM 779 to advise and consent. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Decoy.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
And Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And then moving on to the State Highway Safety Council. So for GMs 837, 838, 839, 840, 841, 842, 843, 844, 845, 848, 849, 850, 851, and 852 will be the same recommendation for all these nominees to advise and consent. Any discussion? If not, Vice Chair.
Okay, Chair's recommendation to advise and consent to all noted GMs. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Decoy. Aye. Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, motion is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And then finally for GMs 846 and 847, we'll defer decision-making to 3 p.m. Thursday here in this room. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.